science at an early age. So the National Science Day, as you know, is celebrated to commemorate Dr. C.V. Raman, who was the first Nobel laureate in physics from India, and also who set up a tremendous legacy for doing science in India. And since then, as you know, India has every few years gets a Nobel Prize, Indians or people of Indian origin in science and economics and other. So that's really a great kudos to a country like India, where of course future Nobel laureates may be in this audience, especially in the young. So I'm very happy to host all of you and I'm greatly thankful to Professor Gupta for addressing the theme, which is a very interesting theme. It's the impact of science and technology, or integration of science and technology for a sustainable future. And I think the key word and the operative word, which I'm sure he will dwell on, is sustainable. You know, one can do well for 1 month, one can do well for a year or two, but sustaining growth, sustaining a future which is secure, sustaining health, sustaining our environment, sustaining an economy, sustaining international relations, sustaining anything becomes difficult, because with time things become more difficult and complicated. Sustaining peace becomes very difficult, as all of you will know in the current scheme of things. So uh, it's a very, very pertinent topic. And Professor Gupta, the floor is all yours. Very grateful to you for joining on NIMA's behalf. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I request now Director Nehru Science Center, Mumbai, Mr. Subhabrata Chaudhary, to address us, please.
Thank you. Very good afternoon. Padmasri Professor Anil Kumar Gupta, founder Honeybee Network, Srishti Gyan and National Innovation Foundation, and also visiting faculty of IIM Ahmedabad and IIT Bombay. Dr. Anil Sharma and Dr. Sachin Sharma of ICMR. Our young students and dignitaries present online in today's program, and ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Nehru Science Center, Mumbai, I welcome you all to today's Sir C.V. Raman Memorial Lecture. It is being organized by us on the occasion of the National Science Day. This celebration began on 22nd February with the launching of a mega exhibition highlighting India's achievement on science and technology for the last 75 years since independence, as a part of celebration of Azadi Ki Amrit Mahotsav of Government of India. And it culminates with this today's lecture with none other than Professor Anil Kumar Gupta. Today he will be delivering his lecture on the topic Discovering and Deploying Scientific Knowledge and Innovation at Grassroots. Actually, we from Nehru Science Center strongly believe that there is an innovator in all of us. And it is truly an inherent trait that just needs to be nurtured, and we'll have to develop it as a part of our culture. And Nehru Science Center, since its beginning in the late 70s of last century, has established itself as an important hub of science dissemination activities in this part of the country. And it has been organizing various programs involving eminent academicians and practitioners who are involved in the field of innovation, so that participants could learn about innovation from various angles. And to us, as they say in the business sector, if the consumers are excited, then your battle is almost won. So we look forward to seeing all of you, the young minds, to reap maximum
why don't you on the videos of these kids, Bhavani? Can we on the videos of these kids?
सभी बच्चे अपने हाँ वीडियो ऑन कर लो.
Yes,
आदि,
sir.
अंचल, उमेश, आपका आवाज नहीं आई थी. शुरू कर दें क्या हम लोग, फिर क्या करें? सुब्रता जी का वेट करें?
No, sir. I think we'll start. So before we start, I'll just 2 more minutes. I'll take 2 more minutes.
अच्छा.
So we at Mera India, this Mera Malaria Elimination Research Alliance, it was launched. I'll just brief about our program. Who are we? We launched in 2019 on the eve of World Malaria Day by the Director General Dr. Balram Bhargava in the presence of various stakeholders. And Mera India envisions bringing together the experts, researchers, and community to identify the priority focus areas for malaria elimination and to coordinate and support collaborative research. The mandate of Malaria Elimination Research Alliance is to bring together researchers working in the field of malaria in ICMR and non-ICMR research institutions, universities, and national programs. In addition to these, we are engaged in various lots of events and activities. And one of the key activities still going on is lecture series on infectious disease and distinguished lecture series where we have talk from very eminent and highly reputed scientists from all over the world. So with this, I welcome you all today in this very special lecture. So before we start, I'll read a few lines about Professor Anilgupta. Otherwise, this is a long introduction, but I try to cut it down. So Professor Anilgupta is a visiting faculty at an Indian Institute of Ahmedabad, Management Ahmedabad, IIT Bombay, National Institute of Pharmaceutical Education Research Ahmedabad, and Center for Management in Agriculture. And he is an academic professor of ACSIR. He is the founder of Honeybee Network, National Innovation Foundation, which is NIF, Society for Research and Initiative for Sustainable Technologies and Institutions, SRISTI, and Grassroots Innovations, Augmentation Network, which is GYAN. He is a PhD in Management and Masters in Biochemical Genetics. He is a Fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Science, Fellow of the World Academy of Art and Science, California 2001, National Science Academy, Honorable Fellow, Indian Society of Agriculture Engineer, and CSIR Bhatnagar Fellow. His interests, his research interests are in conservation and augmentation of biodiversity, building global value chain to get grassroots and youthful creativity. He received various awards like Best Researcher Award at Indian Institute of Management at Ahmedabad in 2015, Hermes Award from European Institute for Creative Strategies and Innovations, Paris in 2012. He adjudged as one of the 50 most influential people in the field of intellectual property rights around the world in 2003 and adjudged as one of the star personalities of Asia Business Week in 2001, and many more. He received the Padma Shri Award in 2004 and country's highest science award, Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award by CSIR India. In addition to this, Professor Gupta is a widely published author. So with this, I invite Professor Gupta and I request you all, students, teacher, and our audience, please type your question in the chat box and we will ask the question on behalf of you in the end of the talk. Sir, Professor Anil Gupta, please start.
Thank you. Namaskar, bachcho. Namaskar. I'm extremely happy to be with you. And also I know that there are colleague scientists and the parents of the children, also friends of these children. तो मैं हिंदी और अंग्रेजी में मिला के बात करूंगा क्योंकि कुछ बच्चों के लिए शायद थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाए. तो मुझे बहुत खुशी पहले तो इस बात की है कि हमारे साथ छोटे बच्चे भी जुड़े हैं, खाली बड़े बच्चे नहीं हैं. 6ठी के 8वीं के बच्चे दिख रहे हैं मेरे को. बहुत अच्छी बात है. तो बच्चों, आपको पता है कि सीवी रमन ने, कि डॉक्टर श्री सीवी रमन, जिनको नोबेल प्राइज मिला और उन्होंने 28 फरवरी को रमन इफेक्ट की घोषणा भी की थी, जिसकी वजह से हम लोग आज साइंस डे मनाते हैं. तो वो 16 साल की उम्र में तो उन्होंने ग्रेजुएशन कर लिया था और 13 साल की उम्र में वो हायर सेकेंडरी कर लिया था. उन्होंने बहुत होशियार थे और 1906 में जब वो स्टूडेंट थे अंडर ग्रेजुएट के, यानी कि करीबन उनकी उम्र होगी उस समय 17 साल, 17 नहीं 14 या 15 साल होगी. उस समय उन्होंने 15 साल के हो गए जब उन्होंने पहला पेपर छापा था रमन इफेक्ट. अब आप देखें बच्चे, आप लोग हैं यहाँ पर, 14 साल के भी बच्चे हैं, 13 साल के बच्चे हैं, 15 साल के बच्चे हैं। ये चैलेंज आज हमको पहले मानना पड़ेगा। और बेसिक साइंस में छापा था। नेहरू साइंस सेंटर इस पर्व को बेसिक साइंस फॉर सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट के रूप में अपना रहा है। और जैसे कि उन्होंने बताया, मलेरिया रिसर्च सेंटर जो है वो करने के किस तरीके से अलग अलग साथियों को साथ लाकर इन समस्याओं को दूर कर सके, मलेरिया की समस्या को दूर कर सके। लेकिन कोई भी तकनीक जब बनती है तो उसके पहले बेसिक साइंस यानी कि आधारभूत विज्ञान जो है उसकी बहुत जरूरत पड़ती है। वी नीड the fundamental building blocks on which we then translate those findings into practical solutions. What I'm going to focus on today a little more is how in the last 35, 40 years of Honeybee Network, we have tried to learn from common people and also at the same time tried to identify the patterns in thinking and at the grassroots level from which we can learn. And there was a comment that Shri Chaudhary made while introducing the subject, and he said that there is an innovator in all of us. So what do we do in Shodh Yatras? We walk in different parts of the country. In summer, we go to hot places. Winter, we go to cold places. Why? To discover. Topic today, theme that we have kept is discover and deploy. First, we have to discover the knowledge system, discover the innovations at the grassroots, which includes our grandparents, which includes our neighbors, which includes service providers, which include the guard, the gardener, the driver. Anybody who's around us does have sometime very basic knowledge, which can help in some sense extend the frontiers of science. मैं अभी आपको example दूंगा उसकी. And then what are we trying to do? This issue Dr. Amit mentioned, frugality, inclusivity and sustainability. Now look at this. ये एक चाय का पैकेट है प्लास्टिक का, ठीक है, मे बी 1 रुपी, मैक्सिमम 2 रुपीज, वेरी फ्रूगल, वेरी इंक्लूसिव, ए पुअर पर्सन कैन ऑल्सो अफोर्ड इट। सही बात है। अब जरा हिसाब लगाओ, इफ यू हैव टू कैलकुलेट द कॉस्ट ऑफ कलेक्टिंग दिस पीस ऑफ प्लास्टिक फ्रॉम 650,000 विलेजेस ऑफ आवर कंट्री, 6.5 लाख गांव जो है वहां से अगर हमें प्लास्टिक इकट्ठा करना पड़ेगा ये चाय के पैकेट का या किसी और इसी मुखवास का, इन सब का, तो बहुत महंगी इनोवेशन है ये फ्रूगल नहीं है, ये सस्टेनेबल नहीं है। फ्रूगैलिटी नॉट जस्ट फॉर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, नॉट जस्ट फॉर कंज्यूमर, आपके लिए फ्रूगल है आप खरीद सकते हो, बल्कि फ्रूगल फॉर द नेचर, तभी तो सस्टेनेबिलिटी आएगी। तो अगर प्रकृति के लिए वो चीज महंगी है, हमारे लिए सस्ती है, तो भाई हम अपने आप को धोखा दे रहे हैं। आपको पता है माइक्रोप्लास्टिक और प्लास्टिक की कितनी बड़ी समस्या हो गई है। तो इसलिए जब हम बात करें फ्रूगैलिटी की, इंक्लूसिविटी की, यानी कि लास्ट पर्सन ऑन द ग्राउंड ऑन द अर्थ, तो गांधी जी कहा करते थे अंत्योदय, अंत्योदय माने जो अंत में है उसका उदय हो। द लास्ट पर्सन इन द लाइन शुड गेट द बेनिफिट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी एंड इनोवेशन। द लास्ट पर्सन, गरीब से गरीब व्यक्ति को भी बेनिफिट मिलना चाहिए, और हम उसकी बात करेंगे कैसे मिलेगा। एक्सेसिबिलिटी होनी चाहिए, मतलब कि वहां तक पहुंच होनी चाहिए, अफोर्डेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए एंड अवेलेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए। वी शुड बी एबल टू एक्सेस, गेट इट। अब मैं आपको छोटी सी चीज दिखाता हूँ और अभी मैं साबित करूंगा कि आप सब इनोवेटर हैं। तो ये फोटो अनामिका ने ली जिसमें 4 बतख हैं, एक तरफ जा रही हैं और एक बतख उल्टी दिशा में जा रही है। मुझे तलाश है इस बतख की, ये वाली बतख है ना जो, इसकी तलाश है। आप में से कोई है ऐसी बतख, कोई बच्चा है जो ऐसी बतख हो जो अलग दिशा में जाती है? बाकी बच्चे एक बात कहते हैं, वो कहते हैं नहीं मुझे तो किसी और तरीके से सोचना है, अलग तरीके से बात करनी है, अलग तरीके से समस्या का हल करना है। ये जो ऑड बॉल है, ये जो द पीपल हु आर द यंग माइंड्स हु आर एबल टू ब्रेक द ट्रेंड, हु आर एबल टू withstand the criticism of our colleagues, our friends, our class fellows, and yet persist with their idea, of course on a rational ground. These are the young mind which will change our country. These are the people who will change our mind. So let me give you a small problem. एक छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम देता हूं आपको, and I will see how you will. Let me see. Yes. मैं एक छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम आपके सामने रखने वाला हूं कि मेरे हाथ में एक माचिस की तिल्ली है भाई। You can see this. ये किसकी बनी है? लकड़ी की बनी हुई है। हाँ, नॉर्मली हम क्या करते हैं, दिया जलाते हैं, उसके बाद बुझा देते हैं, फिर क्या करते हैं इसको? एनीबडी अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ। हाँ, क्या करते हैं? बोलो बोलो बेटे। यस, गो अहेड। क्या करते हैं? हाँ बोलो बोलो, अनम्यूट करो. अच्छा, somebody else has to do that. भाई प्लीज आवर टीम, मेरा टीम, इन बच्चों को जरा अनम्यूट कर दीजिए. इनके हाथ खड़े हैं ना, 3 बच्चों के हाथ खड़े हैं, तीनों को अनम्यूट कर दीजिए 1 मिनट के लिए.
Bhavani, please do that.
कर सकते हैं? यस. चैट पे लिख दो, चैट पे लिख दो. आप लोग क्या करते हैं, इसको फेंक देते हैं ना. Now the challenge I am giving you all is, and like you can write down. You are right. I'm reading on the chat. Now what I want you to do is, we don't have enough wood in this world. Okay, redesign this. Redesign this so that it can do more work. Same material, more work. I want to increase productivity of this stick. क्या करेंगे? Write down, write down, write down. Write down. We are going to create innovation. We are going to change the design of this stick, which has not changed for maybe last 100 years. But we're going to change it now. And you are going to invent a new design. Not reuse. I want to change the design of this stick. No, I'm asking for redesigning, Freya. I'm not asking for repurposing. My question, please listen to carefully. Okay, smaller stick. Okay, that's one suggestion. Any other idea? Okay, but I want to save this wood. Let us keep this constant. I want to use this for more number of times. I want to light more lamps. How can I do that? No. You couldn't follow my question. My question is, this is a
सर मेरे हिसाब से जो पहले साइड जिधर हम बर्न करने के लिए यूज कर रहे हैं उसको दूसरी साइड में लगा दे तो डबल टाइम यूज हो सकता है.
तो एफिशिएंसी जो है 100% बढ़ गई ना. बच्चों, विशाल के लिए ताली बजाओ यार एक बारी. बच्चों, एटलीस्ट आई कैन सी यू क्लैपिंग. गुड. नाउ देयर आर मेनी मोर थिंग्स दैट वी कैन डू. वी कैन यूज इट एज अ डिप एंड ड्राई. करेक्ट. वी कैन डिप इट इन ए, जस्ट लाइक नेल पॉलिश होती है ना, हम लगाते हैं, लड़कियां लगाती हैं, फिर वो सूख जाती है. सो वी कैन मेक इट डिप एंड ड्राई. We can make a small one and have a holder to hold it. There are many more modifications we can do. Now the question is,
the stand.
Sorry?
So we can pencil stand.
We can?
Pencil stand.
No, I couldn't follow you. थोड़ा दूर से बोलो.
Sir, we can pencil stand.
I can't understand. मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा. बेटा टाइप कर दो आप.
He is saying that he can make a pencil stand.
No. You are mistaking the beta. Question is not the how to repurpose or what other uses we can make. The question is how to change the design. You see, my point that I'm trying to bring home is that all of us find inefficiency in our life. All of us find wastage. All of us find waste, which in turn affects the environment. And what we can do is, we are trying to change the design of it. We're not trying to ask questions of what else can we do. There's a whole range of that. Another question. For that, a lot of answers can be given, but we are not going there. Our focus is on how do we change the design, and there's a good suggestion that Akash made, and there are many other suggestions that are possible. The point is, Akash didn't take more than a minute, maybe half a minute, to come out with. But our companies did not come out with that design. Hardly 1.5 millimeter is burned. So this whole stick is wasted for no good reason. So never ever think, the first lesson of the day, never ever think that whatever we are doing, if it was so easy to improve it, why wouldn't somebody do it? This is a killer of the innovation. Never use this argument. Okay? कभी ये नहीं कहना है इतना आसान होता अगर इसको इनोवेट करना तो कोई कर लेता ना. अब तक नहीं किया ना किसी ने. कर सकते थे ना, लेकिन तो लकड़ी बच जाती थी हमारे देश की, जंगल बचते थे हमारे देश के, पेड़ बचते थे हमारे देश के. नहीं बचाया. लेकिन आप लोग जब बड़े बनेंगे ना, साइंटिस्ट बनेंगे, आप कंपनियां बनाएंगे, अपनी स्टार्टअप बनाएंगे, आप ऐसी गलती नहीं करेंगे. एक बात. दूसरी बात क्या सीखा हमने, दैट वी कैन बिल्ड अपॉन ईच अदर्स आइडिया. एक ने कहा इसको छोटा कर दो, होल्डर से पकड़ लो. किसी ने कहा इसके अंदर दूसरी साइड में लगा दो. Somebody can just say कि जैसे बारबेक्यू होता है ऐसे अलग अलग जगह पे लगा दो. There are many ideas which can be built upon serially by listening to each other. We can do collaborative design. हर काम को अकेले नहीं करना है. We should not think that only I can solve the problem. बाकी किसी को सुनना नहीं है, बाकी किसी की बात नहीं करना. All right. So it's very important that we realize, first of all, that all of us are potential innovator, potential inventor. And what am I trying to do? I'm trying to show you that we can change the context of our learning, our thinking, and the content will change. And this is what Honeybee Network has been trying to give voice, visibility and velocity. हम पहचान देते हैं लोगों को जिन्होंने कुछ नया किया है, उनको आवाज देते हैं और उनको रफ्तार देते हैं, उनके आइडियाज को तेजी से आगे बढ़ाते हैं. अब एक सवाल उठाता हूं. A change not monitored is a change not desired. What does it mean? It means that if there is inefficiency around us and we don't notice it, we don't feel comfortable about it, then that means we don't want our world, our working environment, our life to change. You understand the point? That the innovations can come. The science is one which helps in making sure that the same solution will perform the same way everywhere, every time.
Pizza.
Please, you have to keep quiet. Those of you who have not to say something specific will keep themselves quiet. Please. Otherwise, we'll lose time. We don't have too much time. So, a change, we have to look for areas where improvements can be done. We have to look for areas, the question that we have not asked. Let me ask another question. जब आप छोटे थे या आपके भाई बहन छोटे रहे होंगे, बहुत छोटे थे, that is a few months, 2 महीने, 3 महीने, 4 महीने के छोटे बच्चे थे. आपको तो नहीं पता अपने बचपन के बारे में, लेकिन आपने और बच्चों को देखा होगा घर में. कभी कभी पेट में दर्द होता था छोटे से बच्चे के, बहन के, भाई के, तो माँ क्या करती थी, थोड़ी सी हींग लेकर और जो नाभि है वहां पे लगाती थी. अब आप नेट पे जाएंगे और पूछेंगे ड्रग डिलीवरी रूट, ये मेडिकल साइंस वालों के लिए बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है. तो उसमें आपको नेवल रूट नहीं मेंशन किया जाएगा. 8 रूट है ड्रग डिलीवरी के, उसमें नेवल रूट मेंशन नहीं है. डर्मल है बट डर्मल नॉट इंक्लूडिंग नेवल रूट मेंशन नहीं है. अब नेवल रूट तो हमारे यहाँ हमारी कल्चर में तो बचपन से ये यूज किया गया है. तो मतलब क्या हुआ कि कोई एक ऑब्जर्वेशन हमने देखी. अब आप साइंस के स्टूडेंट हैं, आपने सवाल देखा कि अम्मा ऐसे कर रही है, फायदा भी हो रहा है उससे तुरंत, लेकिन आपने उसके पीछे साइंस जो है उसको नहीं पूछा. तो फिर वो प्रैक्टिस रह जाएगी हमारी ग्रास लेवल की. उसकी साइंस नहीं आएगी तो टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं बनेगी तो आगे समाज तेजी से प्रगति नहीं करेगा. हम लोग उसके साइंटिफिक मर्म को नहीं समझेंगे. क्या कारण है, कैसे जाती है दवाई वहां से? ये ड्रग डिलीवरी का ऐसा रूट क्यों ऐसा इतना अच्छा रूट है? हमारे मेडिकल इंडस्ट्री ने क्यों इग्नोर कर दिया इसको? क्यों नहीं हमारी कंपनियों ने ऐसी दवाई बनाई जो नाभि पे लगाते थे तो जल्दी जाती थी दवाई वो? तो मतलब ऐसे बेसिक क्वेश्चंस भी हम लोग को उठाने हैं. हमारे आसपास जो ज्ञान है उसको देखना है, देखकर सवाल पूछना है कि ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हैं हमारी दादी या हमारी अम्मा, क्यों कर रही है ऐसा, और फिर उस सवाल के ऊपर हमें अपनी जिज्ञासा को बल देना है. और देन द होल इंक्वायरी विल बिगिन and research. I'll give you another question. One girl from Asana sent me an idea 2 years ago. I recently sent her my book as a gift. Divya Pandey. क्या कहा उसने? She said, sir, in 1984 there was a Bhopal Gas Tragedy. Please listen carefully. In 1984 there was a huge plant of pesticide from where the fumes and the gases got released. बहुत लोग मर भी गए थे, बहुत लोगों को जेनेटिक डिफेक्ट हो गया, जेनेटिक डिफेक्ट हो गया, बच्चों को जो पैदा हुए उस समय के जो एक्सपोज हुआ था, बहुत नुकसान हुआ. Now look at that. Everybody looked at the adverse effect of that tragedy, which of course we had to do because people suffered. This girl wrote a very interesting question. Sir, what if some mutations in 84 were useful, made our body more resilient to toxics, or some other changes that took place which we have not even bothered to monitor? I told this to Dr. Shekhar Mande, DG CSIR, and I mentioned to Sachin also this issue, that look, this is an issue on which we should do some research. This girl is asking a very basic question. When there is an exposure to such heavy dose of toxicity, just as we use gamma radiation, we use other rays for inducing mutation. तो mutation तो हुआ ही होगा ना, हमने monitor नहीं किया उसको बच्चे. A change not monitored. So if there are useful bad mutations हुई, वो तो हमें मालूम है, adverse effect तो मालूम है हमको. But could there be a beneficial effect? Could some mutation be desirable? Could help our society grow better? Could these genetic mutation help healing? वो तो हमने नहीं देखा ध्यान से. So sometimes children can ask questions which we, the scientists or the elder seniors, may not ask ourselves. And I think we should therefore respect the young mind's ability to ask the questions. And for that, we have to open the door, both within and outside. A door which inside, sometimes a question comes and I say, "Arey, aisa nahi ho sakta." And we kill the spirit of inquiry. And then the whole train of thought gets disturbed. A door outside, in a class, many times only 5-7 students ask. The remaining students keep quiet, which is not a good habit in our. This is not something very good that we want to encourage. We would like more students to ask questions. If there's something that is bothering you, we must raise that. And who knows that question might open some new ideas. I'll give an example of how this observation led me to learn something which I had not known before. So we were in Purulia, and these were beautiful terracotta horses lying under a tree. Potter का गांव था, कुम्हार का गांव था. तो हमने सोचा कि भाई ये तो बड़ा अच्छा है, बड़े सुंदर सुंदर रखे हैं. चलो पूछते हैं लोगों से क्यों रखे उन्होंने सड़क पेड़ के नीचे. Somebody can take it, somebody can break it. कोई तोड़ देगा, कोई फेंक देगा. तो तब तक पॉटर्स को पता चल गया, कुम्हार लोगों के साथियों को, कि मैं एक प्रोफेसर हूँ. बोले, प्रोफेसर, यू हैव डन ए मिस्टेक. आपने गलती कर दी. मैंने कहा, क्या गलती की? बोले, वी हैव नॉट केप्ट द मोस्ट ब्यूटीफुल वंस, वी हैव केप्ट द बेस्ट वंस. व्हाई डिड यू कीप द बेस्ट वन? बोले, ये रास्ता दिख रहा है ना आपको, यहाँ पर ये जो है, यहाँ से हमारे बच्चे रोज स्कूल जाते हैं सुबह. नाउ लुक एट द किड्स, प्लीज ध्यान देना मेरे साथी और बच्चों, प्लीज ध्यान देना इस बात पे जो मैं अभी कहने वाला हूँ. तो बोले, हमारे बच्चे यहाँ से स्कूल जाते हैं, वो देखते हैं कि अभी द करंट स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ द बेस्ट ऑफ द कम्युनिटी इज व्हाट, दे मस्ट डू better. Now, this is what is interesting. If this lesson can be driven home, if those teachers who are listening to me, if they're around, please appreciate what this merit of this point that I learned in Purulia while in our Shodhyatra more than a decade ago, that if we create open source standards of excellence, innovations by children, innovations by young people, new scientific concept developed by them. We publish in Honeybee newsletter, we publish innovations by children around the world. So I remember one of the innovations where a young kid asked the father, they were doing scuba diving. आप लोग जो बम्बई के आसपास के हैं, समुद्र तो आपके पास में ही है, तो समुद्र के अंदर वो डाइविंग करके मास्क वास्क लगाकर उसके और उसके फादर दोनों जने तैर रहे थे. He was not able to communicate with him. आवाज नहीं जा रही थी पानी के अंदर. बाहर आके बोला, I was shouting and you were not able to hear. बोला, नहीं, आवाज नहीं आती ना सब पानी के अंदर. So why don't we make a communication device which will communicate in underwater? And this kid set up that device, that he designed it with help of his father, and then set up a company and became famous for that. कहाँ से सवाल उठा? From a small discomfort, from a small inconvenience. So current standard of what best we could have done, our generation has done, is in front of you. You must do better than what we have done. You must do something different, something better. Only then the progress will come. And never ever assume if it was so easy, somebody would have done it. ऐसा नहीं होता है. आसान होता है तो भी बाकी लोगों को नजर नहीं आती है. एक बड़ा अच्छा इत्तेफाक हुआ. खुर्शीद हमको मिला गुरेज वैली में. गुरेज वैली इज नियर इन कश्मीर, बियॉन्ड बांदीपुरा, कारगिल के पास में, कश्मीर के ऊपर की जो टिप है बॉर्डर पर. So we were doing Shodhyatra. इस गांव में आए. So he looked at our presentation and Khurshid said, I have done also something new. So he went and brought something that he had done. After that we said, is there any idea that you have by which we can encourage more children like you for solving problems? He said, yes. He said, do you know that when an electronic good goes out of order, not every part of that good goes out of order? I said, बात तो सही है, हमने कभी ऐसे सोचा नहीं, लेकिन what are you trying to say? Sir, we should have a room in every village, in every school, where people can keep their out of use or damaged electronic goods. We will salvage the component out of them and make something new. Now, this kid, class 6 or 7, is designing a policy for the whole country, thinking that a thought which has come to him could actually be a trigger, a very low cost, probably no cost, a tinkering lab in every village, in every school, where we don't have to go very far. And there was a boy, Anang Tadar from Arunachal Pradesh. Anang Tadar from Arunachal Pradesh. You search, you will find it. क्या किया उसने? अरुणाचल प्रदेश में कोई इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स की दुकान नहीं है, वहां तो बहुत दूर तक नहीं है, मतलब शहरों में होगी, बड़े शहर में, गांव में तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. तो उसने क्या किया? He took the old mobile phones, salvaged the component from them, made goggles for the blind so that if there's an obstruction on the right, the vibration will come on the right. If the obstruction is on the left, vibration will come on the left. If the obstruction is in the middle, vibration will come in the middle. I didn't realize that there was motor in the mobile phone which caused vibration. He said, yes, sir. And he made this by assembling all of that, learning by himself in a far corner of Northeast in Arunachal Pradesh. The children can not only solve problems, they can not only salvage the solution, the building block of solution from the waste. They can also, I'll take 5-7 more minutes and then we'll open it for discussion. They can also develop new concepts. They can give new ideas for the policies, I would say, not just for the practices. So thanks to Khurshid, if some of you take this idea forward, we will have to bless him because this little boy thought of a very practical solution. Now, what are we trying to say? Let me come to the next part of my talk. See, knowledge is expanding. All of you are getting exposed to the media, to internet, to a lot of knowledge. But our feelings are not expanding in the same proportion. And the action is even less. I understand that we can't feel about everything that we know. I also understand that we cannot act on every feeling that we have. But should that be so acute? That question we have to ask. So there's a beautiful word, samvedana. Sam means equal, vedana means pain. When we see somebody's pain as intensely as that person feels it, वो उसका नहीं मेरा दुख हो जाता है. That pain is no more that person, it is my person. Then, for swanta sukhay, for my own happiness, I try to reduce this pain and by sajanshilta. Samvedana says, sajanshilta, इसके माध्यम से स्वांत है सुखाए, स्वांत है सुखाए, अपनी खुशी के लिए. I'm not doing any favor by solving somebody else's problem. नहीं, I'm being happy myself. मुझे खुशी मिल रही है कि मैंने कोई दिक्कत को सॉल्व किया. That feeling, that spirit is powerful. So that's why there are so many suggestions that people have made. This girl was in Kashmir, in Anantnag, we had to show that. She was climbing the tree with a tree climber that Mushtaq Ahmed had developed. Mushtaq is here from the Anantnag district itself. This boy, Muzaffar, was invited to Rashtrapati Bhavan. You know that? When we used to organize Festival of Innovation. And I know the Nehru Science Center also organizes Innovation Festival when they invite children. And I have seen one of those huge exhibitions organized in the Science Center campus. And I think lakhs of children come there. And maybe we should invite such children also on those occasions. So Muzaffar Khan bola, many times when you write, teacher says write in 100 words or write in 50 words. अब मैंने लिख लिया, फिर मुझे गिनना पड़ता है, 1, 2, 3, 4, 15 हो गया, फिर मैंने थोड़ा सा और लिखा, फिर शुरू से गिनना पड़ता है. So why can't we have a pen which counts the number of words that we have written? Interesting idea. A word counting pen had not been developed. It still has not been developed. We made a prototype though. तो गैप होगा दो लेटर्स के बीच का गैप और वर्ड्स के बीच का गैप, उसको इंटेलिजेंटली इंटरप्रेट करके हम सेपरेट कर सकते हैं कितने वर्ड हुए. दिस किड फाउंड अ स्मॉल प्रॉब्लम एंड डेवलप्ड द सॉल्यूशन. दिस इज ऑफ कोर्स बाय धर्मवीर, a maverick innovator, a serial innovator, multi-purpose food processing machine. This is another example. Several kids gave this, but 2 of them are mentioned here. Kulsum Rizvi, Lucknow ki hai, Tarun Anand, Hardoi ka hai, UP mein. And they said many times we are not sitting properly. जैसे अभी बात कर रहे हैं ना, आप में से शायद मैं भी थोड़ा झुका हुआ था अभी. If my posture is not right, the camera will sense it, and the sign will come on my laptop. Please sit properly, otherwise I will not let you do work. or my chair will start singing. If I don't press all the pressure sensors, 5 pressure sensors on the back, now I will agree, you will agree that all the adults here sitting in this meeting will agree that we all need such indicator, because we all spoil our posture. और फिर कमर में दर्द होता है हमारे, मेरे तो कई बार हो चुका है इधर. So now look at this problem is being faced by us. Kids are identifying the solution. तो बच्चों, मैं आपसे सबसे ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि हमारे पास, we are so proud that we have such children in our country. Sometimes their ideas do not get translated into practice, and therefore their confidence doesn't get boosted. But all the scientists here, all the policymakers must understand that rather than telling them imitation, sometimes you put 3D printer and you say it's an innovation. No, it is imitation. 3D printer does replicate same thing exactly as it is, and it creates another copy. That is imitation. Innovation is when you do something different, something better, something new, something useful. And our kids can think, but they may not have the skills to make it. It is here that we should do reverse mentoring. बच्चे हमें गाइड करेंगे कि ये चाहिए हमें जो solution, हम लोग बना के देंगे. That's what we have been trying to do. And I'll give you one example. So Shalini was in class 8th. Her father was using walker. I've given this is my favorite example. In every talk I mention this because it's such a beautiful example. Her grandfather couldn't use the walker on the step. My wife Sadhana was also having a problem of ataxia. उसको भी दिक्कत आती थी वॉकर को सीढ़ी पे ले जाने में. लेकिन मेरे दिमाग में ये बात कभी आई नहीं. शालिनी के दिमाग में आई. She didn't make anything. She just sent 2-line note to us, Honeybee Network को और नेशनल इनोवेशन फाउंडेशन के, भेजा कि भाई अगर फ्रंट लेग थोड़ा एडजस्टेबल हो जाए तो बड़ा अच्छा हो. And then the front legs will become taller when you come down, shorter when you climb up. Such a walker doesn't exist anywhere in the world. अभी एक कंपनी विसो टेक्नोलॉजीज को लाइसेंस कर दिया ना आपने, वो लोग बनाएंगे बेचेंगे. अमेरिका में भी नहीं है ऐसा वॉकर, यूके में भी नहीं है, न्यूजीलैंड में भी नहीं है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भी नहीं है. In other words, our children can develop solutions which are universal in nature and can reach global markets. हम खाली अपने गांव के लिए, अपने स्कूल के लिए, अपने शहर के लिए, अपने देश के लिए समस्या नहीं हल करेंगे. We'll solve global problems that can affect people all over the world. That is the capability that our kids have. This is a Ahtar Hussain and Mushtaq Ahmed, 2 brothers developed this. This is a motorcycle-based flying machine. And I'll stop here because we have to give you some time for asking questions. And I want more and more conversation. So this is a kurta. Karan Meher and his wife in Barpali, we had a Shodhyatra in Odisha. And this kurta doesn't have a single stitch. अब आप सोचो जरा, मैंने भी कुर्ता पहना हुआ है, सिलाई है, यहाँ पर बाहों में सिलाई है, स्लीव्स को कुर्ते के साथ जोड़ा गया है, साइड में भी सिलाई है. इसमें तो एक भी सिलाई नहीं है, पूरा कुर्ता वीव किया गया है जैसा एक ही कपड़े का. कैसा लूम होगा वो, क्या इमेजिनेशन है, कितनी मेहनत है. We have to think what seems impossible, and it is that spirit of thinking what is impossible will develop solutions. We can also develop solutions by pooling the traditional knowledge and developing innovations. Here, several committees had a problem, solution for skin, but none of them was equally effective. Our lab pooled them, licensed to a company, pharmaceutical company. And all the people whose ideas were pooled from 6 communities were invited at the launch. And the royalty from this goes back to all the 6 communities every year. For 20 years, this will keep going. So a lot of such solutions are able to come. Let me appeal to all the teachers here that please create a club in every school which will search innovation, spread innovation, celebrate innovation, invite innovators to the class, and sense or benchmark, map the unmet needs. Pain point क्या है हमारे घर में, हमारे elders के, हमारी mother के, हमारे आसपास, हमारे environment के, हमारे school के. What are the unmet needs? Search, spread, celebrate, and sense the unmet needs. If these 4 things are done in every club, our country will move much faster to become inclusive, to become innovative, and to become compassionate, because solutions will require not just human beings, but also for the non-human beings, such as animals, birds, and others. So let me stop here and invite your questions and hope that you will be able to add new insights that we need to learn from you today. Welcome. Anybody wants to ask a question will have to raise hand again. And those who have not spoken, let them speak first. Anybody wants to make a comment or ask a question or give an idea?
Okay,
Yes.
why don't we just take the genes from the people who have recovered fully from cancer and put them into the newborn so that they don't have cancer?
Well, there is a lot of research being done. This is a topic of advanced research. But you know, once Jacob Monod, who got Nobel Prize for protein biosynthesis long time ago, he came to India. I'm talking about 70s. And he had made a very interesting remark. He said, our problem is not a cancerous cell. Our problem is a normal cell. Cancerous cell does what it should, that is divide. Why does a normal cell stop dividing at a nose, here? And that was a very interesting question as to why, how to regulate gene activity. And of course, that's where if the regulator goes bad, then the cell becomes malignant. So, but your point is valid. I'm sure cancer researchers will pay attention to that. Let somebody else speak. बच्चे आपने बोला था ना?
But may I?
हाँ बोलो अच्छा चलो बोलो.
Sir, actually, if we have any more ideas after the lecture or some other day, so can we mail it on which mail ID, ma'am, sir?
I'm writing on the chat. You can write to gyan@gyan.org or ignited mind at.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
You can write to Gyan, and this idea will be shared with me, and I'll reply personally if I find it interesting. Your idea must be intriguing. There are three kinds of ideas: interesting, inspiring, intriguing. Intriguing is the one which we don't understand. ऐसा क्यों बोला बच्चे? ठीक है ना? So if your idea is intriguing, I'll write back to you. Yes, anybody else?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sir, there are many diseases which are considered incurable in the world, sir. Sir, but there are many people who have recovered from the diseases. Sir, why not they put their genes, means DNA, in the person which has that disease?
Gene therapy, Hannah? You're talking about gene therapy now. Individualized medicine. Well, it's not that easy, bache, because there are many factors which cause diseases. Not all diseases are genetic, and not all genes express in all the environments. So there is a gene-environment interaction. But of course, the genetic diseases, there is a concept of gene repair. And that is currently scientists are working on that. Some therapies have been evolved. And very soon we may have more technologies which will help us to repair more damaged genes and help people overcome those difficulties. But it's a very nascent field still. It is not yet an established field of science, health.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I've got a very simple idea and a simple solution that to a problem that we students use the pens so many times, and when we go to the stationer, he says, I don't have the refill because nobody purchases the refills. So it is better to throw that 5 rupees pen away and to buy a 5 rupee new pen. So
Correct.
if the companies which make the pens, they can send somebody to collect the finished pens, so that they can either they make the refills or they take away those almost new pens and get them refilled and put the give it back to the shop from where the children who have deposited, or the students like me, they can go and collect their own pens. Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible. It is possible. And
it is a big national wastage.
Wait a minute. Yes. Listen, Radhika.
Yes.
What is the next step after you have identified this problem? What is the next step?
To contact the company, sir.
So will you write a letter tonight? Tonight, will you write a letter to the CEO of the company which makes the pen and tell them what you told me? Will you do that?
Yes, sir. Sure.
And mark a copy to me.
Okay, sir. Okay.
anilji@gyan.org. Please mark a copy to me, because I believe that when good ideas come, 99% of the time we kill them. मेरे कहने से क्या होगा? क्यों नहीं होगा?
Yes, sir.
क्यों नहीं होगा? हो सकता है ना?
Yes, sir.
तो इसलिए आपने कहा है, बिल्कुल ठीक बात है। वो कंपनी को लिखो, फिर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ DIPPT की जो कॉमर्स मिनिस्ट्री है, उनके सेक्रेटरी को भी लिखना पड़ेगा कॉपी, ठीक है ना? एनवायरमेंट मिनिस्ट्री को भी लिखना पड़ेगा, और छोड़ना नहीं है इस बात को,
No, sir.
है ना?
Yes,
कौन सी
sir.
क्लास में हो राधिका?
Sir, BSc second year.
बच्चे, अभी तुम्हारे पास BSc में 1 साल है, 2 साल है?
Sir, 1.5.
Before you graduate, I want you to make a point that this problem should be addressed by the policymakers, and you will make it happen,
Sure, sir.
and I'll help you.
Thank you, sir.
ठीक है? Good, good.
Excuse me,
Don't
sir.
ever
Good
think that
evening.
children cannot change the policies.
Excuse me, sir. Good evening.
Yes. Good evening.
There are a few ideas which are really effective globally, but because of cost and all, they are not usually considered. If to give example, like people around the globe, like Elon Musk and all, they are planning to terraform Mars, but not Venus. But according to my knowledge and whatever I have read, I think that Venus is a much better idea to be terraformed compared to Mars.
See, there are people who will. I mean, there is nothing wrong with imagining things of this kind and working on them. Those who have deep pockets can certainly spend. We still have villages where we need to provide drinking water. We still have problems where children don't. 70% children during the COVID period in some states and 60% in other states, but in any case, more than 50%. Did not have access to online education because their parents did not have a smartphone. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
That is more urgent problem, isn't it? For 2 years, 50% children of our country remained out of online education and we didn't bother. तकलीफ नहीं हुई किसी को भी। बच्चे तो पहले इन प्रॉब्लम पे भी थोड़ा ध्यान देना चाहिए हमको, है ना? क्योंकि इतने सारे बच्चे पीछे रह गए हमसे। आप लोगों के पास तो फोन है, आपके पास इंटरनेट है, आपके पास कंप्यूटर्स भी हैं, यू कैन बी इन टच विद अस, बट देयर आर मेनी किड्स who are not able to attend our meetings, who are not able to talk to me, and therefore we have to find solution to that. And you know what one teacher did, Bala Jadhav from Maharashtra? He used the concept of conference call. बोला उनके पास फ्यूचर फोन है, स्मार्टफोन नहीं है तो कोई बात नहीं। एक कॉन्फ्रेंस कॉल में 10 बच्चों को लिया, 40 बच्चों को पढ़ाना था उसको अपनी क्लास में, प्राइमरी क्लास में। 4 फोन किए, 4 फोन में उसने पढ़ा दिया। हमने उसको HBN क्रिया ग्लोबल अवार्ड दिया। हमने 10 कंट्रीज से, 87 कंट्रीज से हमारे पास 2500 आइडियाज हमने रिव्यू किए थे। उसमें से हमने 10 आइडियाज को इनोवेशन अवार्ड दिया, जिसमें से एक ये भी था। हाउ कैन यू यूज अ सिंपल एग्जिस्टिंग फीचर ऑफ अ फोन, feature phone that is conference call, and make it inclusive? So what I'm saying is, what you're saying is interesting, but I would also like you to think about problems that are around us and how we solve them.
Can we
10 minutes?
send a satellite for giving internet in some areas where people are not able to access internet? So we can just put a satellite in space so that those areas should have internet.
Actually, अभी आपको मालूम है यूक्रेन के लिए मस्क ने कल ऑफर भेजा है। स्टारलिंक जो उसकी कंपनी है, उन्होंने कहा जहां जहां इंटरनेट डैमेज हो गया है वो अपना एक्सेस दे देगा, और वो फोन जो उसको रिसीव कर सकते हैं उनको इंटरनेट कनेक्शन मिल जाएगा। ऐसा हुआ, ये पॉसिबल है। आपको पता है हमारे देश में सबसे पहले सैटेलाइट का यूज एजुकेशन के लिए किया गया था। आर यू अवेयर? बिफोर वी मेड एनी सैटेलाइट इन आवर कंट्री, विक्रम साराभाई had the vision of sites program in 60s. At that time, the receiving station, many places had to be powered by motorcycle, kerosene, diesel, because there was no electricity in those villages. But he borrowed the space on the satellite of US and demonstrated that a country like India can prosper by using satellite for education purposes. We were the first in the world to explore that possibility in way back in 60s. तो आप जो बात कह रही हो बहुत अच्छी है, and in fact, as I said, our great scientist not only thought about it, made it happen. So a lot of you you see on lessons on television or radio because they had the foresight to think about it before we made even first satellite, even before we made even first rocket. उससे पहले उन लोगों ने कल्पना की थी कि जब हिंदुस्तान रॉकेट सैटेलाइट बनाएगा तो उसका उपयोग शिक्षा के लिए करेगा. So I'm happy that you're thinking along that line. It's possible. Anybody else? Friends?
Sir, sorry to.
अब ऐसा सवाल पूछो जिसका जवाब मुझे नहीं आता है. मैं बताऊंगा आपको, ऐसे सवाल मुझे मिलते हैं कई बार जिसका जवाब मुझे नहीं आता है. That is my bonus for the day. हाँ बोलो बच्चे. अनम्यूट कर लो. बोलो. आपका आवाज नहीं आ रही. हाँ धैर्य बोलो. धैर्य अनम्यूट करो अपने. हाँ बोलो.
Yes, sir. So I have an idea about fuel efficient aircraft that could be used in the future.
बोलो.
I have heard a lot about particle accelerators and electron guns.
Oh my God.
So if we could create a giant electron gun and we could fit it in a jet, couldn't it be fuel efficient?
Oh my God. You know particle accelerator क्या होता है बेटा? They are made, long tunnels are made, है ना? और उसमें फिर बम्बार्ड करते हैं न्यूक्लियाई को और फिर जो पार्टिकल्स होते हैं उनको मॉनिटर करते हैं, ऑब्जर्व करते हैं विद ह्यूज एल्गोरिथम. तो अभी तक तो किसी ने सोचा नहीं है कि पार्टिकल एक्सीलरेटर का यूज कर सकते हैं हवाई जहाज को जलाने के लिए. There you must be the first one to think about this. And even if it appears queer and intriguing and is for some people it's absurd, I think we should record this point somewhere and talk to the space scientists if at all they see this possibility. मेरे दिमाग से बाहर है अभी बेटा. I cannot answer this, do full justice to your question, but it's something to be thought about. But I'm not the best person to answer this question because this is an amazing thought. Amazing thought. I like it.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, on the occasion of National Science Day, may I share some thoughts on seed plantation?
नहीं, ट्री प्लांटेशन तो बेटा करना ही चाहिए. आपको नया तरीका बताओ मुझे. Something new way. Some new way of growing trees. I will tell you some new way. But before I tell you, tell me.
From the aircraft?
Well, there Africa में try किया गया है. They have made seed balls through helicopter. Now with the help of drones, you can scatter the clay balls having seed in them. And when the rain comes, they will sprout. And large areas have been made green by using clay balls embedded with seed. So that's a very practical solution. Has been done and must be done in various areas. In fact, a long time ago in Kutch, at that time, the king of that region, he had used helicopter to broadcast seeds of Prosopis joliflora, गांडा बावल जिसको बोलते हैं. वो तो प्रॉब्लम बन गया. अभी तो बहुत इन्वेजिव स्पीशी हो गया. सारा डेजर्ट उसने खराब कर दिया. But at that time, it solved the problem of fuel wood in many places. So this has been tried. It's a good idea. Has been tried and should be tried more. Premji Bhai the, what he did was he used to go on motorbike first and later on a vehicle. He used to throw seeds on the roadside. And he must have grown crores of trees in that manner.
Yes, sir, we should make seed bombs which will help for reforestation.
Some people call it seed bombs. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. We have 4 minutes. Anybody else before?
Okay, so
Sir, I want to say something.
पहले सब बच्चे अपना कैमरा ऑन कर लीजिए प्लीज.
कैमरा ऑन कर लो. कैमरा ऑन कर लो. ये प्रतिष्ठा सिद्धि सब लोग कैमरा ऑन करो. हाँ.
Yes, good.
प्रतिष्ठा आपका कैमरा ऑन नहीं है बच्चे. धैर्य आपका भी बंद हो गया कैमरा. अभी तो आप बात कर रहे थे मेरे से. और सिद्धि आप भी कर लो. सिद्धि है ना. हाँ.
Yes, very good.
हाँ. आदित्य प्रताप. यस, गुड.
Yes, now ask.
बच्चों, मैं एक छोटा सा काम आप लोगों को देना चाहता हूँ. जो भी दिक्कतें आपके आसपास हैं, आपके घर में हैं, आपके दादा दादी को हैं, नाना नानी को हैं, माताजी पिताजी को हैं, या आपके घर में जो सेविकाएं काम करती हैं उनको हैं, या जो डिलीवरी पर्सन आते हैं उनको है, या दूध देने वाले आते हैं उनको है, या कोई ड्राइवर है जो आपके साथ, आपके पापा के पास गाड़ी अगर है तो उनके हैं, गार्डनर कोई है, माली है आपकी सोसाइटी में तो उनको है. मतलब जो आसपास लोग हैं उनकी दिक्कतें, उनकी समस्याएं, उनकी जरूरतों को कागज पे लिखो. जरूरी नहीं है कि जो समस्या ढूंढेगा उसी के बाद जवाब होगा. हो सकता है धैर्य समस्या ढूंढे और आदित्य के पास सॉल्यूशन हो. ऐसा हो सकता है ना. सो आई विल अपील टू ऑल द टीचर्स and to the Nehru Science Center and to Mera colleagues that once in a while we should encourage pooling of unmet needs. ऐसी दिक्कतें जिनका अभी तक जवाब नहीं मिला है और उनके ऊपर ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग करें बैठ के साथ में. ग्रुप ऑफ साइंटिस्ट, यंग लोग साइंटिस्ट भी बैठ जाएं, बच्चे भी बैठेंगे और ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग करेंगे. चलो इनको कैसे दूर करते हैं, वो तरीका है क्या? और फिर कोई ना कोई समाधान निकलेगा. आप समझे बात को. मैं IIT बॉम्बे मैंने एक कोर्स पढ़ाया था चक्कू के साथ में, IDC के प्रोफेसर हैं चक्रवर्ती. तो मैंने बोला बच्चों से, बच्चों ठंडा खाना कौन खाता है आपके घर में? तो बच्चे बोले माँ खाती है. तो मैंने कहा माँ ने तो बड़ा गुनाह किया, आपको पैदा किया, आपको IIT भेजा और अब वो ठंडा खाना खाती है. एक हफ्ते तक बच्चे को काम दिया कि बच्चों आप गर्म खाना बनाकर खिलाओगे माँ को. ये असाइनमेंट दे दी मैंने और बोला अपनी पहली रोटी और आखिरी रोटी एक हफ्ते के बाद अपलोड करनी है आप सब. तो हमने किया. अब जब उन्होंने रोटी बनानी शुरू की बच्चों ने, लड़कों ने खास तौर से, तो पता चला कि जो चकला होता है ना जिसपे रोटी बेलते हैं, रोलिंग प्लेट, उसकी ऊंचाई जरा कम थी, झुकना पड़ता था. इतने दिन से माँ झुकती थी, दिखाई नहीं दिया, कभी महसूस नहीं हुआ. जब खुद बनाई ना रोटी तो महसूस हुआ. बच्चे तो कई बार क्या होता है, हमें संवेदनशील बनना है. हमें अपने, अगर हमारे दादा कई बार खाट से नहीं उठ पा रहे हैं, हो सकता है उसके हाइट सही नहीं है, एंगल 90 डिग्री पे होना चाहिए घुटने का, तो आसानी से उठेंगे. बट वी लिव विद दैट प्रॉब्लम फॉर इयर्स. साइंटिफिक एटीट्यूड रिक्वायर्स अस टू आस्क क्वेश्चंस. क्यों दिक्कत हो रही है मेरे दादा को? How do I reduce it? First step is raise the height of the bed to the extent that the knees are at 90 degree. It will become easier for him to get up. है ना. ये छोटी छोटी प्रॉब्लम जो आपके आसपास है उनको भी लिखो, बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है उनको भी लिखो, and then brainstorm. It is quite possible that you have the problem. You are good in identifying problems. Somebody is good in solving them, and together we can become more innovative, more inclusive, more compassionate, and more collaborative society. Correct? Thank you so much, and I hope that you will write to me. But good luck to you.
Sure, sir.
लिखना मुझे बच्चों, आपकी मेल का इंतजार करूंगा मैं.
And thank you for the seminar, and it was.
थैंक यू जब करना है, जब मुझे तुम अपना कोई आइडिया भेजोगे. जब तक थैंक यू नहीं होता है.
सर आपका यही है?
Yes, sir.
anilgupta.org.gyan यही है ना सर?
नहीं, अनिल गुप्ता नहीं, anilg@gyan.org. मैं लिख देता हूँ यहाँ पर.
सर प्लीज.
हाँ, ये लिख दिया मैंने.
चैट बॉक्स सर.
लिख दिया. ठीक है, anilg@gyan.org. मुझे लिखिएगा और मैं टीचर से भी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा. आप लोग भी, बच्चों के आइडियाज हैं, आपके आइडियाज जो हैं एचबीएन क्रिया में शामिल होंगे और बच्चों के आइडियाज इग्नाइटेड माइंड में शामिल होंगे. हर साल हम लोग अवार्ड देते हैं, हम बच्चों का नाम देंगे और बच्चों की परमिशन नहीं लेनी है आपको.
Hello, sir. So we can also innovate a time machine when.
अरे बच्चे, ये सब तो बहुत सुन चुका हूँ मैं, बहुत बार सुन चुका हूँ. अभी I have to go for another lecture at 5 o'clock, so I will have to leave. Please pardon me, but
So what is the name of the book?
But Shubhrata ji, shall I leave now? Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
we are at the end of a very engrossing session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Again, sometime again I'll join you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
God bless. God bless.